evening, everybody. Welcome to Devils United. Back again with another preview. I'm fashionably late, as they like to say. It's not down to Brush when he was, just getting beautiful ready for me. It was down to myself. How are you doing, Brush?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. I think I have a bit of PTSD, because it was Thursday yesterday, and we're so used to playing Thursday games. It was really weird not seeing United on a Thursday.
But we need to think of it. Is this a blessing, Ryan?
We'll find out at the weekend, won't we? We hope so.
Let's say hello to people who's come into the chat. Good evening, rather. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Man like Brush, rolling like did it or Ferdinand. Which one do you want to be, Brush?
Either or, I'm happy with those two. You can also chuck Yapstam into the mix or Ronnie Johnson.
Oh yeah, or Steve Bruce and Pallister.
Yeah, that'll do as well.
Good evening, Reese. Thanks for coming in. Hope that you are well. Good evening, Niall. Thanks for coming in. Hope that you are well. Good evening, Red Devil Studio. Hope that you are well. Thanks for coming in. And good evening, Luca. I'm well, thank you. I hope that you are well too. He's gone for 2-0 for Man United. So we'll go on about the last couple of games with Manchester United. Hasn't been really good, has it? There's been Seville, Brighton, and also Seville, Brighton. Oh my God, the times are ticking. Seville, Brighton, and West Ham.
Yeah. I see you've been trying your best to block it out from your memory maze. It's all good. And perfectly understandable.
What did you think? Like, I'm going to touch on a little bit with West Ham, because what do you really think went wrong with Manchester United? Personally, for me, I said it, that we was lucky it was not 5-0 to West Ham.
Yeah, very much so. Definite handball as well for Lindelof. Got away with that one. We got away with a lot. Do you know what? I think what it is, I think the players are just burnt out, to be honest. I mean, we knew the schedule was grueling, over the last couple of months. And I think us as fans, we were probably more concerned about rotation than the manager was, perhaps. Like, even though we thought we were going to see rotation, like he was been pretty steady with his lineup. And I think that may have played a part, might have caught up with them. But yeah, no, they've just been very lackluster. Some of the chances as well that weren't taken, we've been punished for it severely.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that. I think the thing is, what doesn't help, of course, is the injuries. But on top of that, I do agree that the attacking did play a massive factor. People were saying you can't blame De Gea. I think it's been a bit of a mixture. A lot of people are blaming De Gea, then a lot of people blaming the attacking line. For me, I was a bit of both. I was blaming the attacking line against Brighton, but I was more blaming De Gea for the West Ham game.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. But yeah, I think there's truth to both, isn't there? I mean, of course, defensive lapses in concentration and errors don't help at all. But, it's made even worse when our attackers can't put the ball away.
No, exactly. And that's why, for me, I always say we need a striker. And the problem is, because I know we're linked to so many strikers, and you look at the way our wingers play. We've got, of course, I think Rashi will move over to left wing next season if we do get a striker.
Yeah.
We've got Antony, we've got Sancho, we've got Garnacho. I think that all of them share the same quality, is that they don't really like to pass when it comes to the final third. They'd rather be very selfish and cut in and shoot rather than cross it in or cut in. And I think that as well does let it down. And that's why I always say is, if we get a striker, I think the striker needs to provide for themselves.
Oh no, but I'll tell you what though, Maze. With that, do you think it might be perhaps because we don't have that focal point, that they tend to cut in and go for the shot themselves? So if we had a proper nine, do you think maybe they would adapt their game? Like, for instance, we know how much Anthony cuts inside and shoots, right? I was
Mhm.
thinking if he had an actual focal point to aim for inside the box, perhaps he could vary some of those into sort of crosses.
To be honest, I think I'm gonna get like I'm not been a massive Anthony fan. I'll hold my hands up, but I think that he has improved his game in a kind of way that he is crossing the ball more than what he
Yeah.
did at the start of the season. I think the thing is with Rashford, he's always been that way, where he'd
Hmm.
rather shoot and he likes to cut in. He's never been one for crossing, so I I think that quality of Rashford will always stay that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think he's best on the left, to be fair.
Hmm. I agree. I think he's better on the left, and as of course as a backup false nine if needed to be, for them certain teams.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think with Anthony, if he does improve his game, which he has improved his game, um, if he does improve them crossings, maybe the striker won't feel as bad to provide for themselves. But I do personally think, especially at the first half of next season, the striker is gonna really, really need to provide for themselves.
Absolutely. I think we kind of touched on it in Jan when we did the striker stream
Yeah.
on potential targets. So we'll have to wait and see in the summer to see who comes in. I know obviously there's been strong links in the media to speculation regarding Harry Kane because his contract's running down. But yeah, until the ownership situation sorted, we won't know, will we? So we'll have to just
Mhm.
hold tight and see what happens.
Absolutely. Just as well, want to say hello to Daz. Thank you for coming into the chat. I hope that you are well. Um, yes. So I just want to as well get the thoughts on De Gea, the current situation, as what you think is really going on with De Gea.
It's an interesting one. So long term, I did not believe that David was the solution because obviously, the game is changing and what's required of a goalkeeper now is different to what it used to be. Um, we also put a lot of emphasis on how we see Ten Hag developing his system and his style of play, and a lot of it is based on his time at Ajax. So it's all a bit confusing, to be fair, at the moment because if he's going to be back up, I don't see the sense in offering him a new contract.
Mm.
So until I see different, I have to assume that he's happy to go on with David as the number one. Like he's not said anything negative in the media. Not that you would, as manager, you tend to protect your players, don't you? Um, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I mean, I guess the new terms are what, around 200 grand a week. I'm hearing.
Yeah,
So
it's gone down by quite a bit, but
yeah, it was on
it's still
375
quite
before.
high
It's
for a
still very high.
goalkeeper.
Like, I mean, that's what I mean. It makes no sense if you put that kind of wages on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm guessing he's content until we're proven otherwise. But yeah, long term, I don't think he's the solution. But it's one of those where when you look at our squad, I think there's other fires to put out first.
Yeah.
Um, but I think in recent weeks it has, some of it's been really highlighted. So it's probably gone up the priority ladder, if that makes sense.
To be honest, I understand why De Gea has started games because we
Yeah.
did have the Brafka as a backup, and
Hmm.
the Brafka, honestly, and I'm glad that he done one in January. After that Burnley game, I'm like, what is this guy about? Like, I was there thinking, bring in an under 80s goalkeeper here. Like, I don't want the Brafka anywhere near us anymore. And Jack Butland, to be honest, I've not watched many games of Jack Butland. I can't say if
Yeah.
he's good enough or not, but um, I do agree that you can't have a goalkeeper for 200k a week on the
Mm.
bench. And I do agree there is other areas that do need to be prioritised, especially if there is the players who is going to be going in the summer because they've not extended the contract. But I think the thing is, you look at 4 years ago with De Gea, he was a world-class goalkeeper. People consider him as the best in the world, and I think the problem is because the football itself has changed to more distribution and a goalkeeper, and because the goalkeepers from all over the world coming into the Premier League, especially I'd say the South American goalkeepers, has really played a different kind of impact into the Premier League by because they're the ones who's the best with the feet, really.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about what the manager wants to do and the style of play that he sees going forward. The one thing we've always defended is his shot stopping. So absolute howler on West Ham, against West Ham. But these things happen. We also have to keep in mind as well that we are missing our first choice centre back pairing.
Yes, speaking of the centre back partnerships and speaking about injuries, Raphael Varane, he is fit now.
Music to my ears. I think it might be a bit too soon to start this weekend, but I'm happy that he's back. We need to give him minutes to get him match fit, especially with the FA Cup final on the horizon.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't have risked him for Wolves anyway. And I'd actually bring him on as a substitute for the following game for Bournemouth. I'd actually then start him for Chelsea and then keep him there till the end of the season.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. You just have to manage him very carefully now, because it could be imperative going into the final week of the season. And also the other bonus as well about Varane coming back is that hopefully it means that Luke Shaw becomes an option again at left back, because for me, he offers a lot more for us at left back when he goes forward.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and I don't blame Luke Shaw in this, but there has been a couple of howlers in the defence. I don't say it is down to Luke, apart from the penalty, but even then, I think he could have done that as a fullback. He could have been a striker and done that, so you can't really
Yeah,
blame him
and
for his role.
I cut him a bit of slack as well because Mays, it needs must, isn't it? Like it's not his position. He's just fitted in, and he's done a pretty good job overall. Like for someone who's never played that position before.
Absolutely. A part of me does think though, because Luke Shaw's left-footed, that Ten Hag actually might keep Luke Shaw as the centre back until the end of the till the end of the season. Because Lindelof I don't think he's overly good on that left hand side. Varane will be playing on the right, so I think he'll want to keep a left-footed player there. And especially knowing how well Luke Shaw played against Manchester City at home, and the games that we do have, they're not. I'd like to say that they're winnable, but that's just me being overconfident as well.
Yeah, to be honest, we're all guilty of it, aren't we? We look at the fixture list and we just think, oh yeah, that's 3 points there, there's 3 points here, and then games aren't won on paper, unfortunately.
No, exactly. You can't look at it based on paper, of course, but I do look at it and think Wolves, we should win, and then I think Bournemouth, we should win, and then I think Chelsea, let's hammer these. Fulham, we should win, and then City.
You know what? The Chelsea one worries me, because we make dire teams look good. So yeah, I'm instant flashbacks to the Tottenham game when I'm thinking about Chelsea, because that one made my blood boil, because that first half performance, we were in cruise control. How we let that slip, I don't know. And then in the end, we were very lucky. We could have just as easily lost that game. But such fine margins, because Bruno had that brilliant shot as well that just clipped the bar.
Absolutely. And to be honest, Bruno, well, he has definitely improved in these last few months. And the problem is everyone's looking going, he hasn't got the goals, he hasn't got the assists that he did have. But I think for me, he's working more as a team player than he is as an individual player now.
Definitely. And I think the manager trusts him as well. You can see by how much he's moved around. It's a shame, actually, because I prefer him to be playing in his preferred position. But yeah, needs must and all that. In terms of the output, I'm not really a numbers person, so I prefer what he does for the team.
Exactly. Reese has got something here about Malacia. Malacia does need to work on his positioning. I feel he overcomplicates his game. Keep it simple and he could be so much better. I hope Malacia becomes even better. I like his work rate. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think Reece is spot on there. Obviously, it's his first season in the Premier League. He's 23 years old. He'll be 24 in the summer. He's only had 2 first flight seasons under his belt, and that's in the Eredivisie. So it's going to take time. It's been a bit of a mixed bag this season, I would say. He's had ups and downs. I'd probably give it about a 5 or 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I have quite liked Malacia. People think he's more of a defensive fullback, but I've always seen him more attacking. I don't know about you.
Yeah, for me, he needs to improve though.
He does need to improve.
Yeah, I much rather prefer Shaw. Like I really noticed the difference between the
Yeah.
two of them.
Yeah.
Shaw is just so much more assured going forward.
Yeah, I think he definitely does need to improve on his game last year, but I do think he is still extremely raw. It
Yeah,
is positive signs if he is getting into that Netherlands squad. Not that he's a starting 11 player, but he's getting into that team. I think that really shows as well his development, how well he's doing, and I do think that the times I think it depends on his opposition of how well Malacia plays. I think if Malacia has a very strong person next to him, he does seem to crumble like Saka and Salah.
hmm
But when he plays against the weaker oppositions, that's when you do see the best out of him. But I do think he needs to improve on his crossings and his going forwards. But I even think Sancho plays better when Malacia is with him. I don't
and
know why, but I do think he does.
even defensively, sometimes he's a bit rash. I see
Yeah.
elements of Eric Bailly in him, the way he goes in.
Well, I can't. I think for me, it gives me Patrice Evra vibes because like Patrice, he played in a different role, didn't he, before he came to
hmm
Manchester United? For me, it feels like Malacia should have been like more of a box to box midfielder, and then
Yeah,
he's
Patrice actually started off as a winger. He was a
yeah,
winger in his earlier days.
yeah, he was. He was much higher up the pitch, and that's what I think. The same with Malacia, that he is. That's what his natural, more natural. That's how he plays. Like his natural position was somewhere else, but
Yeah,
he gets slot in there, and he still does a decent job. But I know he's far off from being Uncle Pat, but I do see a little bits in him.
yeah. Like I say, I mean it's the first season, isn't it? And the key is to have a squad. And like you say, we just need to pick and choose the matches in which we play him. So yeah, for next season, I don't really have any concerns. I'm quite happy with him just being a rotation option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. Especially depending if we get Champions League or Europa League.
hmm
I don't want Europa League. I'd much rather have the Champions League, of course. But
Yeah, wouldn't we all? But we're not making it easy for ourselves, mate.
we're Manchester United. We've never made things easy. John's in the chat. Hey there, John. Thanks for coming in. Hope that you are well. I think we both need the points tomorrow. Hope we both make top four. Keep up the great work. Thank you very, very much. We'll touch on a little bit about Wolves and how Wolves' season has gone.
Yeah, listen, I've been pleasantly surprised by the job that Julian Lopetegui's done over there. I questioned his motives at the time because initially it looked like he was turning them down, and then there's a bit of negotiations going on. And when a manager like that with a reputation and the CV that he's got ends up at Wolves, especially after the way they've started this year and some of the dodgy dealings they've had in the summer where they were selling off some key players, yeah, I wasn't sure, but yeah, he's come in and he's totally proved me wrong. He's done a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Hey there as well to our Lumber. Thanks for coming in. Hope that you are well. I completely agree with your comments on Lapatega. I do think it went very sour. Bruno. Near to this end of last season, start of this season, and I think as well is he, especially with the new signings, he didn't know what his best 11 was in the end. He wasn't getting the
Yeah.
best out of some of the players, and I think having an interim manager for that long period of time, even questioned the ownership at Wolves to say, why have you
hmm
got this why have you got this interim manager? Why are you not going out and actually finding somebody? Even Nunes, as you know, I'm a big fan of Nunes from Sporting. He was played out of position. He was playing as a number 10.
Yeah.
And he's a box to box midfielder and stuff like that. I think seriously, like, because you play a creative player in that 10 role, and Nunes is nowhere near the creative type, but Lopetegui's done great. He's brought in some great players in there. One that I think he is about time for him, but one who I think is going to do very well is Sarabia at Wolves.
Yeah, yeah. Came with a bit of a reputation as well, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sarabia again. He come from Sporting redeemed his career as well. I know he got a bit of game time at PSG, but I think someone like him and Costa coming into this Wolves team has that little bit of experience to try and keep them up the table. I think that kind of experience has really, really worked in their favour.
Yeah, most definitely. About the only thing this team is really missing, though, is that sort of bite up front. Um, I look at their team and I don't really know where the goals are coming from. I don't think there's like one guy you can just pick out and be like, "Yep, that's the goals."
No, let's have a look at Wolves' top goal scorer this season. Wolves' top goal scorer. It's Ruben Neves, their top goal scorer.
See, that says it all.
Having a look at it. Well, you know, Ruben Neves, he always scores against us.
Yeah, the set pieces and all that as well.
Yeah, so it's Ruben Neves who the top goal scorer is, and as well as that, it's Podence as well.
Okay, yeah.
So they both got 6 goals, which really it isn't good enough because I always say when you want to be, you need a 15 goal a season striker at a minimum to do well in the Premier League. And I do agree they are missing that bit of a bite.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at all the other. It's the same in every single competition. Them two are the top goal scorers. Last season it was Jimenez and Podence. The season before, Neto and Neves. So it's just feeling like it's the same, so on and so on. And looking at it, it's been the exact same since Jota left.
Yeah, pretty much. And then obviously, they've been very unlucky with injuries as well. There was the serious one to Pedro Neto, and obviously for Jimenez as well. And I don't think Jimenez has been the same since his injury.
From what I've been hearing, I've heard that Lopetegui isn't a massive fan of Jimenez, because he doesn't think that he's up for the job. But I do feel sorry for Jimenez because for me, he was a fantastic striker. I would have easily took him at Manchester United 3-4 seasons ago.
Oh, most definitely. Prior to the injury, he was brilliant. I think there was one stage where we were linked with him, weren't we, Mace?
Yeah.
My only concern at the time was probably his age. But yeah, that's come and passed now.
He would have been young compared to the strikers we have got.
Yeah.
It's because we've had nothing but pension age strikers since Fergie left.
And even like a 35-year-old Jimenez, I imagine, moves quicker than Weggy.
but Weggy has press. To be fair, I would rather play Weghorst than Anthony Martial.
I mean, that's not saying much, is it really?
If my mate at work was watching this, it made me laugh today. He said, I'd rather start Weghorst than Martial. What man wears gloves in May?
Honestly, that last game was terrible. Both of them, jeez.
Serious question though, who would you actually rather start with, Weghorst or Martial?
Well, I mean, if fully fit, and that's the caveat to all of it, isn't it? I'd probably start Martial because I think it suits the style better.
What about based off right now?
Right now, it's anyone's guess, man. We might as well play with 10, to be honest.
Well, we might as well put 10 Hag in the pitch as a striker.
See, because I know Rashford's probably going to be out, right? He's a doubt. So the thing with me with Weghorst is if Weggy's playing up top, then he can sort of drop back and allow Rashy to cut in and do what he does. But without Rashford there, I don't really know. I don't know where the next goal's coming from, Mace. Any ideas?
Fair though, with Rashford being injured, do you think that might be just mind games?
I don't know. I would like to think so, but also I actually think we rushed him back from injury a bit too soon. When he was recovering, and because we really don't have any other goal threats in that. One that I am really intrigued by for this game is Garnacho. I was quite surprised that he wasn't the one that came on against West Ham instead of Sancho. I thought, he's been an impact sub this season, and he's always made a difference when he's come on. And he goes at players as well, and he's quite fearless. And I was surprised not to see him. So I'll be keeping my eyes open to what happens this week.
Would you rather start Garnacho over Sancho then? If you was going to put him in the starting 11?
On current form, probably, but then at the same time, he's not played, has he? And I'd probably want to give him minutes off the bench.
Yeah, I think for me, and this is no disrespect to Garnacho because Garnacho is only so young right now. I think Garnacho his better performance has been coming off the bench because you look at that goal against Fulham, you look at the assist for Rashford in the derby, that was based off impact for subs, and I think Garnacho's pace will really work against a tired Wolves defence in the 70th
Exactly.
minute.
As the game goes on, and there's tired legs out there, that's when you want Nacho on the ball. And also the other thing as well, if we start with Nacho and it goes wrong, it doesn't fill me with confidence when Jaden comes on at the moment. Whereas if it's the other way around, I can at least get a bit excited, going, there's some oomph coming on.
The thing is, though, when Garnacho played the last time, he started in the Premier League, and people said he wasn't good enough to start after singing his praises.
Yeah, listen, you can't please these people, man. From one game to the next, they don't know what they want.
The thing is, though, especially at Garnacho's
Do you remember all the
age,
people that used to just proper go at Bruno? And then when Bruno was out the team, they realised how much we needed Bruno.
Do you know it made me laugh because the people who slag off Bruno, they'll say crap like, I don't like Bruno because he gives the possession away too much, but then Anthony gives away more possession than him.
Yeah.
You get Casemiro, he gives massive amounts of possession away, but they'll never get criticised. I don't say that every player should get bullied or criticised, but you can't criticise one player and not criticise other players for it. And then they'll say stuff like, Bruno is a greedy player, Bruno misses sitters and stuff like that. It's not Bruno's responsibility to score, first of all.
He also creates a lot of chances and plays a lot of forward balls, mate, which is why, he does lose it.
I think he's got a percentage of 103% of chances created.
There you go. I can understand constructive criticism, but these days, especially online and stuff, it's just quite polarizing.
And do you know what really grates on me? Is when I see comparisons like Bruno against Pogba.
I'm not a fan of any kind of comparison. That one particularly, it annoyed me because why are you picking and choosing between two players that were ours? It made no sense.
But the thing
I just felt like there was two camps, and I was like, why are you guys divided in this when they both played for us at the time? Do
you know what the funnier thing is though? They don't have the same aspects in the game.
Yeah, different players.
I'm not a fan of Pogba. I think maybe my issue is more because of his. I was a lot younger when he first joined. I had more issues because of his price tag and the fact that he was fooling around and stuff like that. And I will hold my hands up about that. I said this guy should be doing a lot better for what we've paid for him. If he's supposed to be a Man United fan, why is he treating us this way? Why is his agent spouting rubbish? And that is the kind of things that annoyed me. I think Bruno has always remained passionate to the club. He's never said a single bad word. Not even his agent has ever said a single bad word. And on top of that, do you remember in the game where against Spurs and we ended up winning 3-2 and Pogba played in the 10 role? He was shocking in the 10 role. And then, but I also do think Pogba played in the 6 in his first season before we signed Matic. And he didn't do so badly in the 6th role, and I don't think Bruno could ever play as a defensive midfielder.
I liked him in his free role when Ollie was interim, when he was just allowed to go attack and that.
Yeah, I didn't mind that at all.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. And then even with Bruno, obviously, I don't mind constructive criticism. There's certain aspects that annoy me about him. But some of these comparisons and false equivalencies, I just don't understand. The things that annoy me about Bruno, I always thought sometimes he always goes for the hero ball, the random shots and unnecessary things. And I always thought if he just simplified his game, he would be a lot more effective. And then the other side of his game that grinds my gears is the petulance and the whining and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that annoys me as well, and I know that the thing is, I understand. Like, he's one of the type of players, Bruno. Like, if he wasn't in your team, you'd absolutely hate him. But
Yeah, most
but
definitely.
because he's in your team, you love him because of how passionate he is. But I do think he is moaner, and I think the reason why he doesn't get the fouls were actually fouls anymore because he's dived so much in the past.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, once you build up a reputation as well, I think referees these days just kind of go based on who you are, and I think we're seeing that with Casemiro a bit now as well.
Hmm.
Cash, you can tell. I think he's visibly like he's a bit scared to go into some challenges.
Yeah, and people are slagging off Casemiro for that as well. I
Mm,
was there thinking as well, is the team that we've got now, it I don't know about you, but you're looking at some players who's joined Manchester United. We've got Casemiro in his 30s, Bruno's
yeah.
28.
Mm.
And it feels like in the next few years, once Ten Hag's comes after his third year, it's like we kind of have to do another rebuild again.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. This is, I've always said if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Uh, Listen, a 40-year-old Casemiro is going to be better than anything we've had in the best part of the last decade. Because we've been crying out for a DM, and we finally got one. But yeah, age does matter. Like obviously, going forward, we need to be wary of that. We need to bring in an understudy and start targeting players in their early 20s.
Hmm. Absolutely. And to be honest, 80-year-old Casemiro will do a good job. As
Yeah,
long as we
yeah.
don't see McFred again, I'm not
Yeah,
bothered.
yeah, yeah. No, because yeah, there's a few. Listen, Lavia, I think, is a quality player at Southampton, especially if they get
I like him.
relegated. If they get relegated, there might be a clause there, so that might be something to look into. I mean, Ricey did a job on us. He was running rings around us.
Do you know what I don't understand though?
Mm.
He's worth 120 million with 1 year left on his contract.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're taking the piss, aren't they, mate? They're trying their luck, is what they're doing. If Ricey digs his heels in and makes it clear that he's got no intention of signing a new contract, I guess again you can negotiate that down.
Yeah, absolutely. I think though Rice is a fantastic player.
Yeah,
Um, but even before this player moved, I would have took Calvin Phillips before
I
he went
wasn't
to Man
sold on
City.
him. I wasn't sold on him. I was kind of hoping to see some of him at the City, but obviously the injuries have robbed us of
Mm.
that as well. So I don't really know.
To be
Um,
honest, I've been watching I watched him a lot since the championship,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I got on like a good image of Calvin Phillips, and the thing is, he can play numerous of different roles. What I liked,
Hmm.
and the one thing why I lent to him more than Declan Rice is because if if we went and decided to go to possession based 4-3-3, Calvin Phillips would be great as a lone defensive midfielder, whereas Declan Rice has never played out and never played into outside the pivot,
Yeah,
and that worries me to think would he do well if he was playing on his own.
yeah, yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. He's not. It's not a job that he's done before. So, but
Mm-hmm.
he has improved his game, and he's coming into his prime years now. Really, isn't he? How old is he now? 24, I think.
Who?
Ricey.
Rice. I think he is around 24, 25. Oh,
Mm.
I just typed in Rice and it just come up with a bowl of rice. These people. Yeah, he's 24. So,
24. Yeah.
yeah, so he'll be coming on to 25 early next year.
Yeah,
So
and I'll tell
he's
you
going to.
who else I like the look of, Maze. The
Who?
guy at Brighton, the one that we could have had
Casado.
for about 4.5 million. Yeah, that's gonna make me cry. That one.
No.
He looks like someone that could, he looks like a transformative player, and it's shocking that he's only 21.
I know. He literally plays older than his age.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We'll go into some of the questions. Hey there, Static. Thanks for coming in. Hope that you are well. And good evening, Liam. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Big important game. Must win for top four hopes. Absolutely, I completely agree there. So we'll go to some questions that's already been asked. Question from Rabbit. Who do you think should be played in the pivot for this game? I'll let you answer that first, Brush.
Oh, I mean, listen. based on what Ten Hag's done in the past, I can't see too many changes. He likes to go with what he knows. It really wouldn't surprise me if he starts with Casemiro and Eriksen.
Yeah, I think he will start the same,
Yeah,
Cass and Eriksen. I can't see him changing that.
no.
Personally though, I would have actually moved Bruno to the 8 and played Sabitzer.
Mm. Yeah, Bruno's actually done a decent job, when he's dropped debuff when he's had to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't see Ten Hag changing it. I'm afraid. I think that three it's going to be Cass and Eriksen with Bruno in the 10.
Completely agree. Hey there, Martin. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. This takeover news has got me massively depressed ahead of this game. I've heard numerous of different things about the takeover. Honestly, I just take everything with a pinch of salt. Me and you was talking about that, weren't we, Brush?
Yeah. Listen, mate. Just go down to Tesco's, see what's on offer, pick up a bottle of something, have a drink, and forget about all of the takeover stuff until something is officially announced.
Exactly. Yeah, don't worry about it, Martin.
Yeah.
Once we hear more news, because to be honest, it's the Times who are not announcing it. And I don't trust the Times as far as I can throw it. Hey there, Andrew. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming into the chat. I did put a poll on saying we're going to Martial, and it was Car Horse versus Sick Note on the poll.
Jeez.
And at the moment, it's Sick Note who's winning.
Yeah.
Which I guess I'm not really surprised. Well, I won't be surprised which one wins either. Question from Luca: if Ten Hag gets fifth and wins trophy, is it a fail? In my opinion, he's already won a trophy, so we already have improved compared to what we was last season. I actually did predict us to finish fifth. At the start of this, like before the season started, just because I thought. Because I was expecting obviously Liverpool and Chelsea to be a lot better than what they was. So was a lot of people. But we already have improved. If we win the FA Cup, that's a bonus. But I don't think it is a fail. Not by a long shot. What about you, Brush?
Yeah, definitely. At the start of the season, I thought realistically would probably be somewhere between fifth to eighth. This season for me was just about just seeing the direction we were gonna go in, seeing some recruitment that reflected that as well, and the shift in style and system and whatnot. I'm not gonna lie though, with the position that we found ourselves in, obviously it's gonna be massively disappointing if we do let it slip. And it would have been all of our own making as well, because we really should have wrapped this up. Really and truly, we should be in third right now.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You can't blame anyone else. You have to just look in the mirror and fix it.
The thing is, I know a lot of people are blaming the Glazers for the loss, and I do agree that, yeah, we should be having better squad depth than what we've got. But under the same breath, it's not the Glazers' fault how the players turn up on that day.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can't just keep blaming the Glazers for each individual loss, because the players do need to be held some kind of responsibility, and the manager's tactics when they're wrong, that needs to be held responsible as well.
Yeah, we win and lose as a team, don't we, Maisy?
Yeah.
Everyone has a collective role to play in it. The players at certain times have let everyone down. The manager as well. Obviously, it's his first time in the Premier League, and he's shown some naivety and a bit of stubbornness as well at times.
I completely agree, and that's not always a good thing. But we need this. We've been getting discipline in the team, and that's something that we have needed. Question from Reese: if we only signed a midfielder, David Raya, and Kane, would you be happy?
Oh, okay. Let's see. As in, I wouldn't be happy, no. But I mean, so much of it depends on ownership and what our budget and stuff is, right? So just off top, we need 2 midfielders minimum and a striker, probably 2 strikers. But those 3 are must. You definitely need a number 9. Need a ball progressing midfielder for me, and probably a DM, a young DM, someone that can cover Cass, and then we'll get to Maguire and the need for another centre half to come in, someone younger to add to the rotation. So that's already one, two, three, four, minimum of four. Am I confident it will happen? No. Um, Especially if rumours are to be believed that our budget is around 100 million. If we were to go for Kane, I'm guessing the majority of that will be taken up.
The thing is, I know like it's been rumours, oh, this is what the budget is, the budget's limited, but
Yeah.
no one really knows what the budget is until because people thought the budget was only 120 million in the summer, but we've paid over 200 mil.
Yeah.
So
We'll have to wait and see though. See, my
yeah,
worry is perhaps they overspent last year and they'll try and make up for that now. But again, it all comes down to the ownership, doesn't it? So,
and I think
um,
outgoings is going to be a massive consideration as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. There's going to be a lot of outgoings. Unfortunately, though, there's quite a few that are out of contract and stuff as well, and there's just not too much resale. The only ones I can think of that would actually make a profit is probably Maguire and Henderson. We could actually sell for a
We're
fee.
not going to make a profit on
Well, not
Maguire.
one. Not in terms of initial investment. I just meant in terms of getting an actual
Getting
return.
something,
Just
yeah.
getting an actual return.
Well, it
Tellers
depends.
and Bailly probably what, like 5 to 10 million at most.
To be honest, though, Harry Maguire, we wouldn't get more than a packet of Smarties for him.
So,
They
you
might
know,
throw in a pack of prawn
I'm
cocktail for him.
gonna be fair to him, mate. I'm gonna be fair to him. Despite all the criticism, I do think he's a Premier League quality player. Just he's obviously not what we need. But you know, in the lower half of the table, he could do a job for a number of teams. Realistically, how much do I think that we're going to get for him? Probably about 15 to 20, maybe.
I don't think we're gonna get Eric Bailly though. I don't think we're gonna get Eric Bailly for much.
No. You'll probably
I
get
think
about
if we're
five,
gonna
6 million for him.
yeah,
He might even be the new backup. You know, he might just be the new Phil Jones.
but the thing is, we know that when Bailly played for Man United, he wasn't happy
Yeah,
about being a backup, so I don't think he will want to be a backup this time round either. But Marseille's dropped him, and he's on
yeah.
loan, so
Didn't he
that
get
really
like an
speaks
eight
levels.
match ban at one point as well?
I think so. I'm not too
Yeah,
sure why though.
yeah.
Probably doing a kung
But
fu
yeah,
kick
so
like
Axel's
Cantona.
contract's up. Axel's contract's up. He's leaving, and again,
I do like Axel.
and he's 25, so you know he probably wants first team football, doesn't he? So Phil Jones, hallelujah, finally his contract is up. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of outgoing. Regarding Raya, I heard quotes of about 40 million. I'm not sure if we'll do that this summer, considering David signing a new deal. But
But
I
here's
know
the
Raya's
question.
contract is up next summer, though.
It is. But here's a question. It's if, for instance, Brentford turned around and said you could have David Raya on the
Yeah.
conditions of Dean Henderson and 10 mil. I'd take that.
All day. All day. I would take
Because
that.
from what I've heard, Dean Henderson
Yeah.
wants to leave.
Yeah.
So it's one
And
of
Dean
them.
Henderson is another one. I mean, he's on over 100 grand a week, isn't he? I think might be between 100 to 150. So yeah, it's going to be a struggle to get rid of him as well. I was actually hoping he had a good loan spell at Forest, but he's been ousted as the number one there. If there was a chance we could send him to Brentford and get Raya in return, that would be great.
Looking at all the players who we signed for a certain amount, the other one who I think we could make potential profit before is Tellez, because I've read Tellez was signed for 15 mil, so I think we could potentially get 20 mil for him.
Because of age, I'm not sure, but yeah, I'd be happy with about 10. I'd be happy with 10 to be honest.
10.
Yeah,
he's 30 though, isn't he?
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
But the thing is, if he went back to Brazil or if he went or back to Portugal, that might not be too bad for him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go on to another question. Niall, thoughts on Jim Ratcliffe closing it? The thing is, Niall, I've seen things that Jassim is and Ratcliffe is. So right now, I'm just taking everything with a pinch of salt, which is why I've not done any takeover streams or anything. Not that I'm not interested in it. I just there's new things coming out every hour. So at this moment in time, I know you mentioned like other channels are doing it, but I don't want to really report on anything that's not true. Just because at this moment in time it's clickbait. We don't know how reliable the Times is. We don't know how reliable the Sun is. But yeah, I'm not other Man
Yeah,
United
listen,
channels and my own channel.
until it's reported by the club or it's breaking news on
Yeah,
Sky Sports or something, I wouldn't pay it too much mind. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I mean. A majority of it's clickbait. Like, who's gonna believe something from the Times and who's gonna believe something from the Sun?
yeah. The only thing I will say is my only concern is that obviously at the very beginning of this process, the only thing the majority of us said was Glazers out. So that's the only thing that that would worry me if this were to go through. The fact that we would have one or two of them sticking around.
Mm, exactly, and I think that's gonna probably be the case. To be fair,
Mm.
we've already answered. Do you feel that? How do you feel about this? At this moment in time, we don't know if Jim Ratcliffe is buying. So if he buys it, he buys it. There's nothing more we can really do because no, it's just greedy Glazers, I guess.
Yeah, listen, whoever comes in as owner, all we can do at the end of the day is back them and hope that they have the best interest of the club at heart.
Exactly. We'll hope so. Anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Just want to say hello. Thank you so much to Daz to becoming a member. For my channel, really, really appreciate that. Thank you for joining. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Daz. So we'll finish off with a final question from Rather. If Man United go 1-0, 1-0 down at half time, how do Manchester United respond? We haven't really responded, have we?
There's been no response, Ravi. I don't know. I don't know where the next goal's coming from, mate. When I was watching the West Ham game, like, not only was it putting me to sleep towards the end, I thought to myself, do you know what? We could play 180 here and we still wouldn't score.
That's what I was thinking. We could play 500 minutes of football and it'd still be
Yeah,
the same.
yeah. Against Brighton, though, it was different, like, because there was a lot of chances that were created that we had at least 3 or 4 chances, and we just didn't put them away. I'm hoping that the lack of Thursday game this week and the fact that they've had a full week to sort of, reset and energize, we'll see a performance.
Fingers crossed, I hope so. Hey there, Bobby. Thanks for coming in. Hope that you are well. So we'll wrap the show up. It's been a great preview. Thank you very, very much for that, Brush. Would you like to tell me your score prediction?
I really wouldn't,
Why is this gonna be bad?
I really, yeah, no. One. I'm gonna go for one. I'm gonna go 1-0 to United.
I was getting worried then thinking who you putting one to.
Do you know what? Listen, if people listen to me doing predictions, we'll win the whole lot, mate. I don't think I ever go against United.
To be honest, so when it came to like near to the end of last season, I was predicting against us.
Yeah, no, because I think 1-0. Third time lucky and keeping a clean sheet.
Well,
yeah,
we're much better at home, so that's something that I guess we need to take into consideration. I take 1-0. I'll go for the same 1-0 for Manchester United. Now's gone for 3-1 for United. Rashford hat trick.
Okay.
And Reece has gone for 2-1 for United, but we need to score first. I do feel a lot more confident knowing it's at home, because I think if it was away, I don't think it'd be great.
Yeah, if there wasn't an asterisk around Marcus for the game, then I probably would have been a bit more generous with my prediction.
Yeah. Again, thank you very much, Bruce, for coming on.
No worries at all, mate. It was a pleasure.
Would you like to shout out your socials?
Yeah, the people can find me on Twitter at Brushy87. Outside of that, you'll catch me on the occasional stream and usually in the comments, just floating about in the community.
Yep, always good to have you on, Brush. Daz has gone for 2-0 for United. Anthony Fernandez to score. Thank you again, Daz, for the joining the membership. Really, really means a lot. And thank you again, Brush. I'll be next live tomorrow. I'll do a review on the game. If it's a good or a bad review, I guess you'll have to find out. But I'll do the player ratings as well. So fingers crossed. I'm actually talking positively, because I look like when I look back, I look like a rhubarb on the last show.
Did anyone even get a 5, Maze, on your last player rating?
Pardon?
On your last player
that was
rating?
the Brighton game, so I'm actually going to look what I rated people for the Brighton game. I didn't give I seen people generously scoring, and I thought, why is people giving these generous scores? Like I was giving I think I give Marshall a 1. Yeah, so thank you very, very much. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you tomorrow straight after game. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care, folks.